Welcome back to Mac Talks of Football, and it's game week 6 of Bundesliga. Things are really getting interesting in the league at the moment. So let's go ahead and make our predictions for what is gonna happen at match day 6. It is the last match day before the international break. So every team is gonna be on their toes, making sure that they go into the international break with a positive attitude, with a positive result, so that the players could be a bit relaxed while on international duty or while they are having their break. So let's go ahead and make our predictions and see what I think about the weekend's game. The game is quite simple. 3 points if my entire prediction is correct, and 2 points if the prediction is correct but the score is not correct. And we're going to see at the end of the weekend during the review video how many points I am going to be able to get out of the weekend's fixture. So without further ado, let's get into the fixtures. The first game is Augsburg versus München Gladbach. It is 16th versus 11th at the moment, and to be very honest with you, Augsburg have not really had the start of the season that a lot of us expected, including me. I thought they were gonna have a quite a good season, but the start is not that. So they are 15th at the moment, not 16th, just above that relegation zone. There's just 1 point difference for them. So as they are not looking really good, and their last weekend's game against Leipzig, they completely got destroyed 4-0. So they know they are in a bit of a problem at the moment. They have lost 3 out of their last 4 games, 2 games in a row. So they would want to make sure that it doesn't become a 3 in a row. They are playing against the München Gladbach side, who themselves have not really had the start of the season that they would have expected. They might be 11th at the moment. They won last weekend 1-0. It was important for them. They had lost 2 games prior to that, so they got back to winning ways, and they would want to continue that run. And I have said that even though Mönchengladbach's the results have not been there for them, their performances have been really good, and I was really happy that they got the win last weekend. I went with my emotions rather than went with my heart rather than going with my brain. Went with emotions rather than going with my logic, and the heart and emotions paved over logic and brain. So I was really happy with that. I have a soft spot for Mönchengladbach, and I'm gonna go with that same same scenario as well. I think they are quite a bit better as compared to Augsburg, and I think they are gonna continue their winning ways at this weekend as well. So I am going for, I think it will be a close game, but I think Gladbach would be able to get over the line. So I am going for a 2-1 win for Borussia Mönchengladbach. The next game is Werder Bremen versus Freiburg. It's 10th versus 7th. Now Werder Bremen, they won last weekend 4-3. It was quite a close game. They would have not really expected Hoffenheim to give out that performance. They were 3-0 down inside 12 minutes. Hoffenheim were like on a different level, and then they get a red card in 19th minute, and then Werder Bremen, they score the 3 goals in the next 20 minutes or so, going into the first half. Then the second half comes and they score in the 49th minute. So it was a crazy game of football, and Werder Bremen somehow won that game. So it was quite a fun game to watch, if I'm being very honest. They are playing against a Freiburg side who got a shock defeat at the hands of St. Pauli, 3-0 at home as well. Nobody saw that coming. Like, I still cannot believe that Freiburg lost that game. They if you're being very honest, Freiburg would have already put a tick as a W in their calendar before that game was played. As I said, nobody really expected St. Pauli to go out and give that performance, but they did, and a big win for them, and a big loss for Freiburg. So they would want to come back from that defeat, make a statement for their fans and the managers and the players themselves. They would be really angry and disappointed at last week's results, and they are playing against a Bremen side who have been not consistent this season. I think we are gonna have an away win. I think Freiburg are gonna be really angry, and I think Bremen, even though they won last weekend, but in a matter that they played and the way they won, I don't think they are going to be able, if they play like that, I think they are going to be able to do something against Freiburg. I still think it might end up being a close game, but because of the scoreline, I just don't think performance-wise it's going to be a close game. I'm going for a 2-1 win for Freiburg. The next game is Union Berlin versus Borussia Dortmund. Now Union Berlin, they suffered their first defeat of the season last weekend. They had been undefeated before that, so that's got stung them. It was a 1-0 defeat against Mönchengladbach. It was quite a close game. I expected that it was going to be a close game, and as I said, I went with emotion in that prediction, and that prevailed. I still thought that Union Berlin did not play that bad in that game, so they would want to, in a way, get back to winning ways just before the international break, or make sure that they don't lose this game. They are playing against a Dortmund side who have been really inconsistent when it comes into the when it comes to the in the league at the moment. They have won, they have drawn, they have lost as well. 5-1 thumping against Stuttgart is including in their first 5 games. They won last weekend 4-2 against Bochum, and even in that game they went 2-0 down Lyon, and then they had to make a comeback. They played, and they basically destroyed Celtic over the weekend in the Champions League game. It was quite a big win for them against Celtic, so they have a good sort of a good momentum. But as I said, at Dortmund, you really don't know at the moment. They become quite inconsistent. They have been quite inconsistent, so I'm not really holding my breath for them. I think if you look at paper, if you look at the score and the way the last couple of games have went, it should be quite an easy win for Dortmund. But as I said, they have been really inconsistent with their performances, so you don't really know if you really want to back them or not. But I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I think Dortmund have enough in their tank to get over the line against UB. I'm going for a 3-1 win for Borussia Dortmund. The next game is Bochum versus Wolfsburg. It is 17th versus 13th. Now Bochum are one of the two teams who are still winless in Bundesliga. Their performances have been really bad. They have lost 4 of their 5 games in the league this season. They lost last weekend to Borussia Dortmund. They had a very good start to the game, but were not really able to end the game, and they lost 4-2. They are playing against a Wolfsburg side who themselves have they started a bit better, but then their form has sort of gone away. Their last 3 games, 2 of them have been losses. They finally drew last weekend, so it's not like they are in a sort of a good form. But I just think they are gonna have they are gonna have enough in their tank, and their score is way better as compared to Bochum's, and even though they are the away side, I just think they are gonna come back with a win. So I am going for a 2-0 win for Wolfsburg. The next game is Bayer Leverkusen versus Holstein Kiel. It's 4th versus 18th. It's the current champions, was a team who has been promoted to the Bundesliga this year. Leverkusen this year, their undefeated streak is already over. They lost to Leipzig. They drew last weekend against Bayern Munich, so that was a big game for them. They defended really good. I think a lot of criticism went their way that they really did not go ahead and try to win that game. But I think the way they played, they got the goal, and then even though after they conceded, their defensive work was really good in that game. So I'm quite I was quite pleased with that performances. They are playing against a Holstein Kiel side who are the second team alongside Bochum, who are still winless in the game. They lost last weekend against they lost last weekend again, and so it's been like 4 defeats in the 5 games that they have played this season. And unfortunately for them, I think it is gonna continue. They are going away to Leverkusen. I think it will be quite an easy game, a walk in the park for Leverkusen. I think it's going to be a thumping as well. So I am going for a 5-0 win for Bayer Leverkusen. The next game is St. Pauli versus Mainz. It's 14th versus 12th. Now both these teams are again in that mid-table at the moment, so they both know how important this game is for them. Mainz, they have the start of the season was not that bad, but the last couple of games it is now becoming a problem for them. They lost last weekend against Heidenheim. It was a 2-0 defeat for them. They were at home as well, but they were never really a match for Heidenheim, if I'm being very honest with you. And they know it is a very important win against a game against St. Pauli, a team that you would expect Mainz to defeat, quite convincingly. St. Pauli, on the other hand, they started the season with 3 consecutive defeats. Then they drew and they got their first win, but last weekend was a big moment for them, a 3-0 away win against Freiburg, and they were unplayable at that day. I think it was a really great performance from Freiburg, and they would love to continue that performance. They are playing at home and they are playing against a Mainz side who are not really in their in a good form, and it's not like they are performing really good. So the St. Pauli know that there is a chance for them to go ahead and get the win, and I think they are gonna be able to do that, and they are gonna go to the international break with a win. I think it will be quite a close game, but I think the home side is gonna nick it at the end. I'm going for a 2-1 win for St. Pauli. The next game is Heidenheim versus RB Leipzig. It's 6th versus 3rd. Heidenheim, they defeated Mainz 2-0 last weekend. Their start of the season was really good. They won their first 2 games and they were top at the top at the Bundesliga. They were the top team after a match day 2, but then match day 3, match day 4 ended in defeat. So they got back to winning ways last weekend. So they would hope that it can continue. Their form is, they are playing a really good football as well. They are playing against RB Leipzig, who are one of the 2 teams who are still undefeated in the Bundesliga this season. They defeated Augsburg last weekend 4-0, and they're looking really good. I think it is going to be quite a close game, quite a fun game, and I think none of them are gonna lose this game. Both of them like to play attacking football, and I think it is gonna continue this weekend as well. I would still say that Leipzig might have an upper hand, and I think they might go ahead and win the game. But I am just gonna, because Heidenheim are at home and they have been playing good, even though they have lost those 2 games, their performances have been really good. I think they are gonna give Leipzig a very tough time, and Leipzig have already drawn twice this season. So I think they are gonna draw the 3rd time this season, and I'm going for a high scoring 2-all draw between Heidenheim and RB Leipzig. The next game is Eintracht Frankfurt versus Bayern Munich. It's 2 versus 1. The top 2 teams in the Bundesliga at the moment are going at it. Frankfurt have had a really good start to the season. That's why they are at number 2. They won last weekend against Holstein Kiel 4-2. It was quite a good win for them, and they would hope that they can go ahead and continue that win. They can continue their momentum and try to beat Bayern Munich. They are at the home side as well, and they know if they are able to get that win just before the international break, it is going to be huge for their confidence, especially going into their international break, that they have defeated Bayern Munich. But Munich, on the other hand, they drew last weekend against Leverkusen. It was their first time that they draw points. They are still one of the 2 teams along with Leipzig that are still undefeated, and I think they themselves would want to go into the international break with a win and make sure and tell everybody that the last weekend's draw was just a one-off. They have had a shock defeat at Aston Villa in the Champions League, and company is going to be under a lot of pressure to give out a response to the Munich fans, because they are not they don't really expect defeats like that, especially against a team like Villa. Now, no disrespect to Aston Villa, I predicted that in my prediction. I said that Aston Villa are going to give them a tough time. I almost went for a win for them in my predictions, but in the end I went for a draw. But Villa, they defeated Bayern Munich, so they are going to be under a lot of pressure, and I think Frankfurt could take advantage of that. The thing is, that defeat could bring out 2 different types of Bayern. Either they can go ahead and they are going to completely destroy Frankfurt, or I think they are going to go ahead and be in that pressure situation, and they might go ahead and lose other points. And I think it's going to be the second type of Bayern that is going to play that game against Frankfurt. I think we can expect goals in this game, and we are going to expect a high scoring game, but I think it is going to end up in a draw, and I think Bayern are going to lose further points after last weekend's draw against Leverkusen. So I'm going for a 2-all draw between Frankfurt and Bayern Munich. And the last game of the weekend is Stuttgart versus Hoffenheim. It is 8th versus 16th. Stuttgart, they are in sort of a good form. In the last 4 games they are undefeated. They had won 2 games in a row before last weekend, where they draw 2-2 again. They ended up with a 2-2 game against Wolfsburg. They would be really angry at themselves that they let that happen, and they had to somehow rescue a point in the last moment of the game, courtesy of Dennis Undav, 97th minute goal that rescued a point for them. They are playing against a Hoffenheim side who are 16th at the moment, and it is not really looking good for them. They had like the wildest game last weekend. They went up 3-0 inside 12 minutes, and then they get a red card, and then they concede 4 goals inside 20 minutes, and they lose that game. So they are in a moment they are in a spot of bother, and they are going to be under a lot of pressure because they are 16th. They are in that relegation promotion playoff place, but the thing is the point difference is not that much, so they know they can be pushed into that relegation places just like that with one single game. If somehow Holstein Kiel or Bochum can get a result, Hoffenheim would be the team in that relegation zone, and they really don't want it. But I don't think they can do anything in this game. As Stuttgart at home, I just don't see any other result apart from a Stuttgart win, if I'm being very honest with you, and I think that's what's gonna happen. So I'm going for a very convincing a 3-1 win for Stuttgart. And with that, my predictions are for match day 6 are complete. We are going to see how many points I can get out in this match day at the end of the weekend, and we are gonna tally for the last for the first 6 weeks in an Excel sheet. We are going to see for each weekend how many points I've been able to get and how my performances have been till now. It is going to be the international break, so you are going to see a different type of videos as compared to the normal days. You can go ahead and make your predictions in the comment section below, and we'll see who got whose predictions were better, mine or yours, at the end of the weekend, and we can see who is better at making predictions. So yeah, like the video, share it as well, click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 400 subscribers before the month end of this month. It is still quite early days. That's like 3rd October tonight. The games are starting from tomorrow, so a lot of time for us to go ahead and achieve that target. So please go ahead and subscribe. Until next time, bye bye.